Hi, this is Rob from All Music and All Bands, and we're talking with Chris Doliber, bassist from Madam X. How are you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing great. How about you, buddy?
Doing really good. Chris, for those unfamiliar with yourself and Madam X, could you please give us some information?
Yeah, my name's Chris. They call me Godzilla for various reasons, which we can get into later. But I play bass for American metal band Madam X. We had a history in the 80s, mid-80s. We were signed to Jet CBS Records, and Don Arden, Ozzy's father-in-law, was our manager at the time that he managed us. He also managed Black Sabbath, Air Supply, Electric Light Orchestra, and was suing Sharon, his daughter, over the control of Ozzy. And we released We Reserve the Right record 1984, 85, and that, December, I think it was, of 84, which, in parts of the world came out in 85. But High in High School was one of the singles. We Reserve the Right was another single. High in High School was a favored MTV video, and yeah, then 30 years later, after we had a member change or two, 30 years passes, and Maxine posted on Facebook that all original members were going to get back together and do a song, of which I wasn't even aware that she had done that at the time. And Sweden Rock Festival reached out to her and asked her if it was true, and she said, yeah. And they said, well, if it's true, would you consider playing Sweden Rock Festival 2014? Of which the headliners on that festival was Black Sabbath, Alice Cooper, and Billy Idol was on it. I really don't remember. But anyhow, we went and we rehearsed after not being together for 30 years. And I wrote a song called Another 80s Rock Song, which was a single that came out prior to the festival. And we performed to what turned out to be an incredibly large audience. Black Sabbath closed the show on Friday the night before, and we went on 12:15 in the afternoon on Saturday, of which I expected just, a handful of people, a couple thousand people at our stage, and was pleasantly surprised to walk out on stage and see, 13 to 15,000 people filling our stage area, and all singing the lyrics to the songs and holding up T-shirts, retro T-shirts from the past, and we sold a lot of. It was my intention was, this is like a farewell, my chance to say goodbye to, fans from back then. And it felt so damn good on stage, and we were so well received that we decided to release another record, and continue going. So since then we've been playing, various parts of the world, a lot of Monsters of Rock cruise. Those of you that don't know what that is, it's a cruise ship that's hijacked by a rock festival, and 40 bands go out to sea with 4,000, 5,000 fans, and we go out to play a couple times in the week. We go out for a week, and so we do two live performances, a meet and greet, and a Q&A, and the rest of the time you're basically on a rock and roll vacation, and it's amazing. Just a really good time. The fans enjoy it, the bands enjoy it. And that's what we do. So we just came back from Sweden in June, again playing 2018 Sweden Rock Festival, and to another large audience. And we have a new record out called Monstrosity on EMP label group, which is owned by Dave Ellefson of Megadeth. He's the bass player from Megadeth, and Tom Hazard is at the helm at the company, and they're in the trenches, boots on the ground, kick ass and take names, kind of a record label. So, we have another worldwide release, and quite honestly, they sold they announced that the album was going on sale and pre-orders and so forth. But then the day that it was released in Europe, we sold the entire pressing in one day, which no one expected. And then they were scrambling to reprint, and fill orders and stuff. And someone asked me the other day for one of the guys here at one of the local radio stations in Detroit, asked me for a copy of the LP. It's a double LP, and it's done in red vinyl. It's beautiful, and we've included the best people in the production of this record. But he asked me for a copy of the record. I don't even have a copy myself. I can't get them because they're as fast as they print them, they sell. So Michael Wagner he mixed our record, and he's responsible for over 100 million records sold. He did Motley Crue and Skid Row and Bon Jovi, and just really, really, really notable. Responsible for those bands. Lexi Leon did the album cover. He's the artist that does all Iron Maiden work. So we put the best people in position for this record, and it's a pretty damn good record, if I say so myself.
Are there plans?
All right, so go ahead.
Are there plans to follow up Monstrosity anytime in the future?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm demoing. I'll be at the studio here in about 10 minutes or so, and I need to run in and take care of some details with recording last night. We're demoing the band. We write individually, and then I'll come up with a guitar riff, a hook, a verse, maybe a chorus, and then turn it over to someone else in the band, and ask for collaboration. Some of us write solely individually, and sorry, I should say some songs are just so individual efforts, and then some are collaborations between one or more band members. But so that's what we're doing right now.
Are there any?
Personally, I'm working. Go ahead.
Are there any working titles of these new tracks?
Hell of an Angel is one. Another one would be Banged Up, which I owe to friends that follow us on the cruises. They're the British, a group of British people. I hope I'm saying that right. Anyhow, they're I don't know, there's a dozen or so Brits that come on the cruises, and after one of our performances, this was on the boat. We're sitting in a lounge area, and one of the lads said, telling me about getting banged up, and I said, "What's it? Banged up? I've never heard of that. What is that?" And he said, "That's when you get you're locked up in England, and in different countries have different takes and different expressions." So he told me a story, and I included that as one of the titles and some of his story in the song. So, and that's how the magic happens. A little of this, a little of that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
After the album's release, are there plans of doing any touring in support of it?
Oh, of course. It's first and foremost is it's performance. So yeah, it's a process. You're right. You record, which doesn't for us it's a lengthy process because the girls are really Nancy and Roxy, are female guitarist and drummer, are they rethink and reinvent after the fact quite often. So on this last record, every song I think was from the time that it was demoed to the time that you hear the final recording was probably recorded at least maybe as many as 6 times fully, redoing my bass part 6 times because went from demo to a recorded version, and then next thing would say, I want to do this on guitar instead, and change something up, and then Roxy would say, well, I want to do this now on the drums. And when the guitar and the drums change, then I have to change my bass part, and then Brett will re-sing it, and then the lyric gets changed a little bit, and it's like a real process, and largely because we're scattered across the country. Brett in Phoenix, Arizona. Maxine, Roxy, and I live in the greater Detroit area, out in the suburbs, but the girls that live close to each other, I don't live close to them. And Roxy's out on the road with Vixen, the majority of the summer, spring, and fall. So it's a lot of recording individually, and coming up with the idea, and then Roxy and Max will go in and when they're available and lay down their part, and I'll come in and do my bass part, do the drums and guitar. It's not easy in that respect. It's not like when we're kids, basically, living on the road and always together in the same hotel or in the same studio. It's not, we don't have that luxury anymore. But we do the best we can with the time and what's available as far as studio time and so forth. I'm sure every band's got a different process and a different take on how they conduct business and so forth. But that's just the way it works for us.
Will there be a new video for the new album?
Yeah, we just released a video called Monstrosity for the track Monstrosity, and it's done old school with real flames, fire, and smoke, sweat, blood. With a lengthy process, there's 85 feet of matte paintings behind us on a huge soundstage, and buildings that look like they're alien from another world, and kind of a space pod that we come out of. And the premise of the video is it's DJ Will from he does all the Monsters Rock cruise. He's a famous DJ in his own right. He's a resident DJ at the Rainbow on Sunset in Los Angeles, and he did that metal show. He's a DJ for the metal show and so forth. But anyhow, so he did the intro line, and you just have to watch it. Those that are listening, go to YouTube, search Monstrosity, Madam X, go see the new video, and it's pretty amazing. But it was it's done with with a lot of heart and soul, and a lot of time and effort went into it. And it's not a GoPro on the end of a neck of a guitar like I see so many other bands. It's got we did a full storyboard, and it's done old school, like in the 80s we would have spent $100,000 to make this video, and there would have been a crew of 20 people and at XIR Studios, and we did it basically produced it ourselves, and it felt really fucking good and quite thrilling and fulfilling to have a vision and put all the directors together and the people that are editing it, and special effects crew and the artists that paint the thing and build the set and so forth, and then go and do it. Quite an achievement, accomplishment, and a real thrill to have that kind of involvement.
On this new album, will there be what kind of direction is the band going in? Will it be in the vein of Monstrosity, or is there going to be some changes?
I don't know, because the way the Monstrosity came out, I think I wrote 6 or 8 or more songs for Monstrosity, and the girls contributed, and at some point we switched the gears and switched the title of the record, and then started choosing songs for the album, and the direction changed So again, I'm just throwing like everyone else, throwing songs into the pot, and we'll see what sticks and what doesn't stick, and it'll come to, we'll come up with a theme, I guess, again, and a direction, and start songs that will work together on our own. So I don't, no idea. All I know is I'm just writing, and whatever doesn't work, will most likely go on, on the last record.
On the Sweden
a lot
rock.
of songs that didn't. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say a lot of great music that never made it on the record because it didn't fit the theme of the record. So again, I'm working with a guy named Chris Laney, producer from Sweden, who also plays in Pretty Maids, but he produces. He's worked with many European, big names, and he's amazing. Great guy to work with. Very creative. Really knows his, he really knows his shit. So anyhow, I'll be working with him on a solo project. So whatever doesn't get used in this record and was not used on the last record, I'll rework it and put it on a solo record.
Chris, speaking of solo records, what musicians would you have involved working with you?
Charlie, Tony C. Ozzy's drummer is, I contacted him. He would be working on it. If I use him, maybe I'll use Zach Wild as for guitar. Some key players.
Do you have
maybe, go ahead.
Do you have any projected date when this is going to be released?
I have no idea yet. I'm still demoing those songs and listening to mixes and stuff. So that we'll have to revisit this another time.
All right. Your performance at Sweden Rock, you had mentioned getting such a great it got such great reviews and got the band back together and got the album Monstrosity together and everything. Boy, I got to say, after seeing the YouTube video of your performance, you really put on a hell of a show.
Well, thank you. It's not a show. It's just the way I play. So, I don't know if you're speaking to me personally or as a band, but the band, we enjoy playing. So, we play from the heart, and it's again, on stage, it's real blood, it's real sweat, it's real emotion, and it's fueled by the audience. So, we're like the box of, proverbial box of chocolate. You don't know what you're going to get at a Madam X show, until shit hits the fan, and then, raise your fist or duck. The choice is yours.
Do you have anything you'd like to talk about that I haven't mentioned?
Boy, I don't know. Again, check out the new video. We'll be working on another one. We just filmed live in Detroit a couple nights ago, and recorded the show on 16 track. And that will be mixed, and it was a multiple camera shoot. So I guess look for that. I saw some of the initial footage, and it looks pretty damn good. So I'd say keep an eye out for that.
Who have been some of your influences throughout the years?
What's that?
Who have been some of your influences as a bass player throughout the years?
Oh boy, that's a really good question. I wish I had a really good answer. I always liked John Deacon from Queen. Of course, Gene Simmons, when I was much younger, Dennis Dunaway from Alice Cooper's original band, Steve Harris, you know, those kind of cats, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, John Entwistle. I mean, some of the, you know, the old school guys that, you know, Roger Glover from Deep Purple, you know, who could lay down a bass line, you know, that's just relentless and pounding, you know, those kind of guys. You know, and some, you know, I don't know, Jacques Pastori for his, you know, his take on bass. Of course, I'm not that kind of bass player. I noodle around like that when nobody's looking. You know, it's just to entertain myself. But on stage, I don't. It's not what I do. You know, I try to stay, you know, in my lane and do what I do, and not cops. You know, I don't want to be Billy Sheehan. I don't want to be, you know, not to say I don't appreciate what they do. They're very accomplished and you know, entertaining just to listen to them solely. But that's not, you know, I just do who I do.
Well, I got to say, you're doing very good. You and the rest of the band. I mean, this Monstrosity album. How has that been received by the fans and the critics?
The reviews are good, and the fans seem to love it, and it seems to be selling quite well. So, you know, that I guess, yeah, you know, the proof's in the pudding. I haven't read a bad review yet. I hope you don't give us a bad review, but again, that would be solely up to you. But we do, you know, we do what we do. It's been good, and the reviews and sales have been so strong that that's also prompted us to do, you know, another effort.
Well, for the people out there that haven't picked up a copy of Monstrosity, they need to go out there and pick a copy up because they will not be disappointed in the music that is on it.
I agree, 100%. It's a good effort. It's non-typical, and again, it doesn't sound like we're trying to be, you know, anybody in particular, which I guess what I'm saying is we didn't jump on someone else's bandwagon to try to, you know, glom onto a fan base of some kind. You know, I think we satisfied the taste of our old fans and have made quite a few new ones with this record.
And people will definitely be picking up the new CD if they like Monstrosity. I'm sure they're going to love the new one when it's available.
Oh yeah, I would imagine. Rob, I'm in the studio now, and I have to start my session.
All right.
I'm a ghostwriter and work with other bands, and that's what I do. So yeah, I got people here, but we can continue this conversation, and I hope very soon.
Oh, we will, Chris. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to conduct this interview.
Thank you. We could chat later. You know, after 8 p.m. would be good.
All right.
Cool?
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Take care.
You too.
Ciao.
Ciao.